2020 has been a very miserable year so far. We've had no Formula One and everyone's locked away in their homes. And we had some really sad news as well, only a couple of weeks ago now, is that Williams are looking to sell the team, or at least sell some stakes in the team. You seem like the downward spiral of what I would say one of Formula One's most loved teams. And it's not a good sight to see. Williams have won many constructors' titles, I think 8 and 7 drivers' championships, dominant in the 80s and 90s. But recently, success, hard to come by. 2 wins since 2004. It's unheard of. It really, really is unheard of. In 2019, as we all know, was the lowest of the lows for Williams. It really, really was. And then recently, Claire Williams pretty much said the team is up for sale. We are looking for new investors. It's something that the team didn't want to do, but they're having to do it because they've lost, what was it, $13 million, I think it is, so far in 2020. And yeah, it's sad times at the moment, and jobs are on the line. Of course, they're not the only team, but they're the most vocal team. Like, I think they're the first team to really announce some kind of really big problems. I think McLaren have also said that they're laying off some staff, but they're not in any financial trouble. They're just doing it because of the current situation, the global pandemic at the moment. But Williams, they're a small team, budget very low. It's hard to come by with a couple of finances. So they're currently either looking for some decent investors or potentially a brand new owner. Now, one of these potential owners could be, which is, of course, you can see by the title, we're going to include one said, team principal of Mercedes, Toto Wolff. Now, Toto Wolff is a very interesting topic, I would say, after recent events. He's rumoured that he's going to be leaving Mercedes. He's going to be taking over as Chase Carey as CEO of Formula One. He's going to be going to Aston Martin, or he's going to be going to the Formula E division. There's been a lot of speculation over his future. Now, Toto Wolff is a businessman, a very good businessman for that matter. He's got stakes in all kinds of other companies as well, and of course Formula One teams as what he does right now. And Williams used to be one of those teams. He used to have a 30% stake in the team in 2012. However, in 2013 he transferred over to Mercedes, which he's currently still at now. His team principal, Ross Brawn, left his role and Toto Wolff took over the proper role in 2014. So when he took over the role, he had to sell his shares in Williams. I think he sold 20% in 2014 to an American businessman, and then he sold the other 10% in 2016. So Mercedes were like, you're going to have to sell your shares, cut all ties with Williams. Your 100% focus is going to be on this team. But recently, in the news, he's bought back some of his shares, 5% to be exact. Of course, he's also bought some more shares in Aston Martin. So these shares that he's bought in Williams, are we looking too much into this? Is this just this is not what it seems. Is it just helping out some old friends, wanting to see, see that team on the grid? He used to work there. He met his wife there, Susie Wolff, of course. He's got a little, good place in his heart. He wants to see the team survive, so he'll purchase some shares. Or is it more than that? Are we on the cards of seeing Toto Wolff potentially owning Williams' Formula One team? So we'll be discussing: is this a good thing? Is this possible, or is this just a load of rubbish and we're just looking far too much into it? And then, of course, we'll be discussing who could potentially take over Williams going forward. So, Lyle, do you think that we are looking too much into this? That he's just helping out the team that's struggling for money. They're looking for investors. He's willing to invest some 5%, of course, of his money into the team. Or do you think that there's potential there for possibly a Toto Wolff owned Williams team? What do you think about that?
Well, I think firstly, we might be jumping on the grenade soon, quite early before everyone else is, but we have to. That's just what Formula One YouTube is. We have to kind of come up with these things, to say and to talk about. It's not completely out of the realm that Toto Wolff might look to take over Williams. The first time I ever kind of heard about Toto Wolff, or even knew what he was about, was of course in the 2012 season, Spain to be exact, and of course that was the year that Pastor Maldonado won with Williams. The scene of when they were in the garage, it was Sir Frank Williams, Claire Williams, Pastor Maldonado's family, and a certain Toto Wolff was in the background. And it didn't click that he was going to be anything massive there, but I was like, oh, look, that's Toto Wolff, and of course I'd heard of Susie Wolff at that point. And then, yeah, like, look what he goes off and does. He goes to Mercedes and he transforms it. The view of Toto Wolff then became of this really, not just a team principal, but a real changer of the time. He didn't get Lewis Hamilton on board, but he really worked alongside, obviously, Niki Lauda, who did get him on board, obviously himself, Lewis, Nico, who was already at the team, obviously Michael, when he had when he was vacating the team at the end of course, the year that he joined at. And he really transformed that team into something massive. And of course, what we know them today, 6-time champions of Mercedes. Really powerful. He's got a massive name in Formula One. And as John said there just at the start, there was possibilities, there was rumours. I think it actually was around this time last year. The rumours were around that Chase Carey could be replaced by Toto Wolff. Very much like how Ross Brawn stood up to, of course, work with the FOM, obviously work with Brawn, and of course Mercedes, obviously the man before Toto Wolff. There was a possibility because of how powerful Toto Wolff actually was. Mercedes shareholder, obviously very, he believed a lot in the team. Again, when you have people like this who put in not just their time and effort from an employment standpoint, but also from their financial standpoint and their personal standpoint, they put in their money. Obviously, we've seen that a lot up and down the grid. I mean, yes, of course, drivers, Nicholas Latifi, Lance Stroll, for example. Latifi, we're getting to him in a little bit, of course. Claire Williams putting a lot of money in the team, and of course it does happen up and down the grid, even at the top as well. Toto Wolff bought in, put his trust into Mercedes, and I guess you could say when he did that in 2013, that was like a massive step, because at this point Mercedes weren't anything massive. Yes, they were of course a big team, of course in their automotive standpoint, one of the most successful, not just car companies, but businesses in Germany, one of the most successful businesses in the world. Of course, Mercedes-Benz, I think over 100 years old at that point. And even Mercedes Formula 1 team were really taken off, but he didn't understand, he didn't know what they were going to actually achieve. So again, to do that was a massive risk. Showing his love for Williams, of course, to help them out in this tricky situation, Jordan, I think it is good from him. But again, just jumping on the grenade a little bit too soon, possibly because I'm like, well, firstly, one of the big things that stands out to me, we talked about this before we started recording, is Williams are a subsidiary almost to Mercedes. They use Mercedes engines quite recently as well. It's not like they've always been a team, like a sister team, a B team to Mercedes. It has only really been in the last few years. Mainly when Bottas went, of course, Bottas used to drive for Williams Racing, then went to Mercedes. But when they became kind of more dependent on Mercedes, again for funds, they used the engines, they've used a lot more parts. They are, because of that reason, they are very much a B team to Mercedes. And of course, the main reason now is we look at George Russell. Of course, I think he's managed by Toto Wolff. Big investment from Mercedes junior driver, obviously brought in from Formula 2 into Formula 1 and put into that Williams seat in the hopes, almost stamped in, that George Russell will be in that Mercedes seat one day very, very soon. And Williams is, of course, going to be kind of his, halfway house and the one that gets him ready and prepared for, his actual career at Mercedes. So for that reason, I think probably, George Russell alone, I mean, he's a good driver, but, for that reason alone is why Toto Wolff's invested in the team. He wants to support them. He knows how important they are to Mercedes. They're putting out these drivers, mainly just George Russell, but drivers, possible drivers in the future, but also supporting them, as in just another team on the grid. And of course, for their engines and things like that, it will help them in the long term. And of course, his wife, as Jordan mentioned there, Susie Wolff, working alongside the team. Jordan, I think it's just to pass it back over to you. I think from my side, I don't see him going there, but I do see the fact that I always keep going on about Lawrence Stroll. When Lance first came into Formula 1, I love this. I think it was said by, it was Chris Medland on Drive to Survive. Absolutely loved this when he said it. It was about Lance Stroll when he first came into Formula 1. He said, Lawrence Stroll is a businessman. And he only invested in Lance Stroll because it worked for him. Of course, yes, Lance is his son. He wants to see him do well. It's his son. But Lawrence has done this because it's an investment. He only does this because he believes it'll be right. That's why businessmen do everything. People don't win in Dragon's Den because they're just such likable people. It's because the people who invest in them think that their businesses are going to go forward. And of course, the minute he isn't going to perform, Lawrence would walk away maybe less so, but as I say, it's an investment, so the chances are that he would just pack his bags and say, Lance, you're out of Formula 1, I'm not investing in you anymore, I don't want this anymore. Of course, that was before he bought his team. So, Toto Wolff will have invested into Williams because of, the fact that it will be working for him. Probably looking at the bigger picture, most likely looking at Mercedes and what they can benefit from that. As I say, the more revenue from Williams, and of course at this point they were looking at leaving Formula 1, which would have been a massive hit, not just to Formula 1, but obviously to Williams. As I say, they probably would have lost George Russell, because I don't see any team would have re-signed. I mean, it is obviously a horrible situation if Williams did go under and they did leave Formula 1, but if that actually happened, we might not even have a team that George Russell would be signed by, and I think at that point Toto Wolff would really be sweating, because it'd be like, we've lost a future prodigy. Maybe Renault, but as I say, they're not owned by Mercedes, so again Toto Wolff would have very little power in that. I think he's bought the power, he's bought the prospect, he's bought the kind of the future, the business savvy side of him's come out in this investment. I mean, it was only 5% at the end of the day. It's not massive. It's not going to make anyone millionaires. It's not going to change any of the power at the top. Of course, Claire Williams said, she wants to run the team basically till eternity, because it's her team, it's her name. She's representing the Williams name, not just for herself, but of course for her dad, Sir Frank, who built the team. But also for the investment side from Williams. And of course, just one last thing as well, Paddy Lowe, we all remember him, he went from Mercedes to Williams, again in this transitional period when Williams were becoming more of like a Mercedes B team. So he went there to help the team, and I think that he is doing as well. Paddy Lowe, very strong guy at Mercedes, working with Williams, doing an incredible job there. So to answer your question, Jordan, I don't think I would see Toto Wolff as the boss. Mainly because Claire Williams is still there, but also because of the fact that I just don't see Toto Wolff being in charge of the team, not just because he's the boss of Mercedes. Let's say that he steps out of that role, for example, and the options are go into Formula 1, the management, the FOM, do a Ross Brawn, or manage Williams. I just don't see him managing Williams. I just don't see that. But I see him buying in and because of like the business side of him coming forward. And that's why I think that he's done it. It's the business side, it's the the Mercedes beast thinking, it's George Russell. That's why he's done it. So Jordan, what do you think? I mean, could we be seeing Toto Wolff, the new team principal of Williams, and ultimately, why has he bought in the team? Is there still love between him and Williams? Why has he done that?
I think, the reason why I'm saying, could he potentially be buying, would he be a really good contender as a potential team owner of Williams? Is because I think he will be looking for a new challenge. I think he's probably considering his options. I think his contract runs out at the end of 2020 as team principal. I think it's 2020 or 2021. I'm not too sure, but it's around soon. So I think he will be like, what else is there? What is there to offer? Because he's young enough to go off and do something completely different. Set up his own Formula 1 team, who knows? I mean, it's not a bad shout, but again, that's for another episode. So I think kind of like the main reason from this is I don't think he will personally buy the team and run away into the distance with it. I think this could be just be I'll help you out for now, and because I don't want you to see go under, because there's jobs at stake and everything like that. But I think it's worth taking into account a bit of a thought and go, this is not that ridiculous, because Toto Wolff went in to Mercedes, and Mercedes were a team that they weren't anything to be looked at the time in 2012 for that matter. They were a team where they did start the season strong, but then faded away towards the end of the season. But there was potential there. There was the ambition there for the team to win constructors and drivers championships. It was just a case of when. 2013 came around. Ross Brawn was in there. Toto Wolff was in there. Niki Lauda was in there, and there was a bit. I remember at the time there was there's loads of big people at Mercedes. What's going on here? Surely someone's going to have to crumble and leave. And ultimately, that guy was Ross Brawn. And Mercedes, one race win, handful of podiums, and it was just all right. They got another win with Hamilton, a couple of wins with Rosberg, and almost replaced McLaren. Essentially, McLaren dropped away from the top three, and Mercedes became essentially the new McLaren. Then 2014 rolled around, and that's when the dominance started. Toto Wolff kept everyone together, the spirits together. You got the right people in at the time, the right people around him. So did Hamilton. They kind of worked in transition with each other and built the team to what it is today. So Toto Wolff, he's on the brink of course, Mercedes have won 6 and 6. 6 drivers, 6 constructors in a row. No other team has done that. Ferrari did 5 and 6 between 1999 and 2004. So in the team sense, they've won. They've done the record. No team has done what they've done before. In terms of like wins in a row, but in total wins, they're still quite a decent milestone away from Ferrari. For that matter. But in drivers, Lewis Hamilton is not too far away from matching Michael Schumacher's 7 wins or 7 titles in Formula 1. Potentially, if he's there long enough, could be an 8th title. Wow, incredible. Who'd have thought that when he signed for the team in 2013? Nobody for that matter. But then you go, Toto Wolff, he's done there. You know what I mean? Like he's from nothing, like midfield team to world domination. He will want a new challenge, which then comes into the equation of potentially going into investment with Aston Martin, a team principal there, and maybe building that team up. But that team's got a lot of money behind it, so you know it's going to work. It's going to be a Mercedes 2.0 in my opinion. If you throw a lot of money at it, have Toto Wolff there, he'll then bring over some other guys from Mercedes to that team, potentially, maybe not, but we'll see. And then they'll just go off and maybe potentially dominate or even challenge Mercedes, who knows. But I think a greater challenge would be to go to Williams as maybe team owner or even team principal, and build them from where they are now to maybe midfield team, challenge for the top 3 in the next 10 years. That would be a brilliant challenge for him. It just would be for anyone for that matter. Toto Wolff, like I said, he started his Formula 1 career there, I think, and now he's at Mercedes doing absolute domination of Formula 1 at the moment. But now he will want a new challenge. And to be fair, I honestly think Williams is a really good shout. Buy the team, maybe go into partnership with maybe Claire or get a couple of people on his side. I mean, he could still have some stakes in Mercedes and kind of maybe work both, I don't know. Or just have full commitment to Williams and just go, right, I tell you what, let's just build you guys from the bottom upwards. But I think maybe, does he want to do that again? Like he's already done it with Mercedes. Does he want to have another challenge with another team? Does he see to see whether he can do it again? Or does he want a higher role in Formula 1? And I think his next move potentially could be a higher role in Formula 1, which is why I'm kind of doubting myself that does he want to go back down to the beginning and start all over again? And yeah, but no, I think it's worth a mention and worth a bit of a pondering thought.
Yeah.
I think is the word of the day. A pondering thought to go, you know what, it's not a ridiculous idea. And of course, I want you guys to let us know what you think about that in the comment section below. I mean, could you realistically see it? I think as well, we are kind of, I don't generally believe he will do this. I think he could maybe invest more if they need more, because he wants to see the team do well. He's a businessman at the end of the day. He knows what he's doing. And yeah, he's, to be fair, if you do want a businessman at your team, you do want Toto Wolff, because he's very smart, he's intelligent, he knows what he's doing, he's been there before. So, but no, I don't think it's a ridiculous shout, in one, again, like I said, to ponder thoughts over. But alright, if Toto Wolff doesn't want to be there, who could? And this is like almost like part 2 of the episode, let's say, like sport on Toto Wolff, could it be going to Mercedes, to Williams? My opinion, probably not, but like I said, good challenge. So maybe like, who else could buy the team? And I think there's only one guy it possibly could be, which Lars said at the beginning, well, his surname anyway, Latifi. Michael Latifi to be precise. Name sound familiar? Latifi. What's
I think
that
I've
name
heard
rings a
of
bell.
him.
Nicholas Latifi, of course, he drives for Williams. His dad, big businessman, one of the richest people in Canada, I believe. Net worth of $2 billion, in case you want to know that from Fry the Grid yesterday. So, so he's not short of a bob or two. So yeah, he paid for the seat at Williams. He's got Williams took out a loan with Michael Latifi, and there's rumours going around that the way that Williams could repay that loan is on Michael to take full control of the team. But now I'm going to throw in another thought here that could be a another one to ponder, bringing in almost the main guy in the episode here. Toto Wolff and Michael Latifi teaming up to buy Williams to run it. Does that sound ridiculous, Lyle? Or not?
Oh, I mean...
Again, like, you know, almost like to clear up what I'm trying to explain here, like, he could have like a bit of a stake in Williams, let's say, and then still run Mercedes, or even jump ship to Aston Martin and maybe have the two connected there. So like Williams and Aston Martin will have a partnership, or Williams and Mercedes will have a partnership. Because Claire Williams did say that over her dead body will Williams be a B team, but she can't call the shots if she's not there. So therefore, Toto Wolff will go, well, let's team the two together. We'll have like an almost a Red Bull and Toro Rosso situation going on here. Is that a want? Is that more realistic, do you think, Lyle?
It does, yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's very much like a Dragon's Den thing. If anyone's ever watched Dragon's Den, obviously they've got various, you know, they've got various strands all over the world, but obviously ours, you know, the 5 of the richest Britain's richest people sit down and listen to business opportunities. It almost is like that. You know, do you want one on board? Do you want one dragon? Do you want just Michael Latifi to buy the team? Or do you want 2? Do you want Toto Wolff as well? I mean, I want to talk about the first one first, Michael Latifi. See, I mean, Lance Stroll, you know, bless him, you know, he's had a tough ride, and I don't just mean Formula One. I mean by us, like, YouTube is just having a, you know, our opinions is like, oh yes, his dad's bought his seat, and then obviously he went off to Force India, then become Racing Point, then obviously your dad bought Racing Point. Out of his administration, that was good, and if anything, that would just be a normal business investment. But it's because his son drove for them. No, he didn't at that point. Sorry, but he bought the team, and then he got his son in. So you think if Lance drove for Force India first, and then Lawrence Stroll bought the team, then you would think, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. You know, because he's helping them out. Obviously, he's saving them from administration, things like that. But it's just the fact that it happened the other way around. You know, he bought Force India, then it became Racing Point, and then at the end of the year, it was inevitable that one of those two drivers, Sergio Perez or Esteban Ocon, was going to be out of the drive for Lance Stroll. And that stigma has followed him around, and I don't want to go into that anymore because we made countless videos about it. I think our first video back or something like that was about Lance Stroll. You know, do we just look at him and think, your dad paid for your drive, you don't deserve it? He does. I don't want to start that again. Sorry, Twitter. I didn't mean to start the whole thing here, but I don't want to start that. But and again, that's the thing. You know, Nicholas Latifi. The rumours around him is, his dad's bought his seat, and someone who again has just, you know, excelled through from money. I think it would be a different scenario to that. You know, if Michael did buy the team, you know, his son already drive for them. Again, he has no real ties to Williams apart from obviously, you know, paying for that seat to help his son in, which again, you've got to remember at this point, is almost just like Michael Latifi saying, I tell you what, Nicholas can drive for you, but also I will give you money. Because if you think about it, other teams don't need money. The only real team that needs money right now, and they need it, capital N, because obviously they've got no money coming in and they've lost $30 million US, as we just said at the start, is Williams. So Michael Latifi might have just said, right, well, here is the support, you know, the down payment, if you like, of Nicholas Latifi, and then this is what he can do, you know, and almost remember as well, if they drive well, you know, points, money from Liberty Media, they will then get it back. And one thing that is never talked about, Jordan, just on the Lance Stroll side, is again the money that he produces back for the team. Because again, you know, remember 2017 when he was first brought in, he got a podium in Baku, you know, and things like that, you know, good performances. And I was just thinking to myself, like, that's one thing that is never talked about between Lance or Nicholas or anyone that's paid into Formula One before, is the money, well actually mainly Lance, because he's always talked about it in this form. We all talk about the money that he's spent, Lawrence has spent getting him into Formula One, but we never talk about the money that Lance actually made back for the team. And now he's driving for Force India, Racing Point, which will now be Aston Martin. And again, you know, we talk about the money that Lawrence is spending on the team, but we never talk about the money that Lance is helping score the team money for his dad. We never talk about that. So again, you know, that's one of those things where I just said about a down payment. Lawrence Stroll, Michael Latifi might be saying, here is some money as a down payment, kind of a trust, like a deposit. This is the deposit for Nicholas Latifi being in Formula One and doing well. and when he scores points, that is like the actual score. You're going to get the money back. If Michael bought the team, I don't think it would have that much to do with Nicholas Latifi. It wouldn't be built around him. It would be almost like Nicholas Latifi, Canadian businessman, the second Canadian businessman. I mean, there's no doubt that he's, probably talking to Lawrence Stroll and pally with him, another Canadian businessman in Formula 1 who has a son in F1 as well. So he'll look at Lawrence and probably think, this is a sweet gig, I want in. But it would be only for him though, because then he could rebrand it. He could, well, when I say rebrand, I don't mean change the name. It would still always be Williams. It wouldn't be called Latifi Racing. I think there would be a massive, pitchfork in F1 Twitterville if that did happen. It would always be Williams, of course, but Lawrence could, Michael could rebrand it. He could bring like his businesses on board, like coffee business, whatever it's called, Lactavia or whatever, so he could have a lot of say in the team, but it would only be a business venture for him. I don't really see Nicholas kind of having that much of an impact in buying the team, but it's definitely something to really think about. Would he be interested in doing that? And obviously Nicholas would be moving on, and I think also from a Formula 1 fan's perspective, you'll be seeing the way that Williams are going on right now. You wouldn't want your driver to still be driving for that team. So again, like if Michael Latifi bought the team, would he then say, right, well, Nicholas is my son, I'm going to keep him in the team, but the thing is, because I own this team, he is going to stay in this team till, he's going to stay in this team for years and years and years, and he's going to be like the next face of Williams. Nicholas won't want that, because what happens in 2020 or 2021, if he has an amazing season, and then is offered contracts to different teams, Renault, Aston Martin, Mercedes, just gotta chuck that out there. You know what I mean? So if his dad owns a team, then it'll be almost like, well, no, you can't take any of them contracts. You can't let me down. You've got to stay in the team because you're my son. And I think that's another reason why maybe he wouldn't want to be involved. But I think if he did it, it would just be a business venture for him. I don't want to see any kind of links to Nicholas in that way. But also Toto Wolff, if he got involved 50-50, let's say. I think it would be a good business venture for him again, but we are looking at when he'd be looking at retiring from Formula 1 or leaving Formula 1, whatever he's going to do future in his career. Because I think if he was the CEO, the team principal of Mercedes and had a 50% role in Williams, it would almost be kind of like a clash of interest kind of thing. He would have two teams to manage. I mean, actually, he's only got 30% in Mercedes. So if you have 50% in one team and 30% in the other, he's got more chance of, he'll have more say at Williams than he will at Mercedes. I just don't think that would happen. The only way I could see Toto getting involved at that level is if he just straight up retires, and then he just becomes a businessman. I mean, that's the thing, he would actually become an Austrian businessman that owns 50% of one of the most successful Formula 1 teams in Formula 1. And I think that would be a great thing for him, but I could possibly see Michael getting involved, or a Canadian consortium, obviously the second Canadian consortium, because of course Racing Point is owned by a Canadian consortium. It's just obviously fronted and mentioned by Lawrence Stroll, because obviously that's the only guy we know, and of course father of Lance, but it's a Canadian consortium, and that is also a possibility that Michael Latifi partners up with other people from Canada and other people that want to form a consortium and buy Williams, which again has that has a good swing. But yeah, I think if he did, Jordan, I think I could see from a business side that's why he'd want to do it. But I mean, yeah, just chucking the question back at you. Do you think we could see Michael Latifi buying the team? And of course, also, what do you think about Toto Wolff possibly owning the team as well? Or do you think it's like a consortium kind of thing? Or do you think none of those options are good and Williams just needs to stand on its own, obviously, as it used to do in the olden days?
I don't think it's like it's like I said earlier, it's not like a silly option or anything like that. It's more of a realistic, probably a bit more realistic option than what I said earlier about the whole Wolff owning the team independently and maybe teaming up with Latifi and partnering merging the two together. It could be a great success, who knows? But it's only speculation at the moment, and Williams needs somebody who's got the experience of a Formula 1 team, because if you get someone in it's like almost like kind of switching the subject really, but I'll get back on the topic in a bit. But if you let someone buy the team who doesn't know Formula 1, who's just there to make a bit of money, then the team aren't going to go anywhere. are they? They're just going to be maybe just a bit higher than where they are, or whatever. So they need someone there who understands Formula One, which is why Latifi is always a good option. Toto Wolff is, of course, he's a good one as well, being involved with Williams in the past. Teaming up with Michael Latifi and creating like a Wolff Latifi partnership would be a good shout, and whoever has the more stake could maybe have their name in the team title. I think if whoever does buy that team, if it is Michael Latifi or Wolff or whoever, I think at least keep the Williams name, so call it, I don't know, Williams Wolff Racing or Williams Latifi Racing or whatever you racing or
just to break in there, John. One of my favourite series I used to watch, and actually I used to watch it non-stop when it first came out, was Suits. About lawyers in New York, and one of the big things about it, apparently it's a lawyer, but definitely in that, is to get your name first. So like, on the name of like of the company, of the law profession, whatever. I can't think of the word. Like the legal. I can't think of the word, but anyway, so that's what they'll definitely be fighting for. But then, John, do you think it would be Latifi Williams or Williams Latifi? Or like, how would it go? Because remember, I think if Williams don't get like the first name, the name first, then do you think they would kick off? Because like they are the main team. Or do you think if at this point it's almost like Williams just don't have any billing at the moment? They're fighting to stay in Formula One. So if we bail you out, or I bail you out as Latifi, then my name is definitely going to go first. Like, whose name would take first billing in that way?
Well, it's already down to who owns it. They could remove the name Williams altogether. That's the possibility if the guy who owns it, which is why I'm saying that if a guy comes in who doesn't know Formula One, who just knows business, he could remove the name Williams altogether, which would be a calamity to Formula One in a way, but we've seen it before, so it wouldn't be like anything new. Lotus, prime example, Tyrrell, another, Minardi, other loved names in Formula One who are no longer with us anymore. Williams could be one of those teams, or one of those names. But like I said, I would have thought it would have been the owner's name first. So if we go like Latifi Williams would be like a statement going, I own this team. But you could go Williams Latifi Racing. That has more of a ring to it if Latifi does want to take control, or Williams Wolff or Wolff Williams. Both sound pretty deep.
That sounds cool.
That sounds more better than Latifi. It's like Wolff Williams. It rolls off the tongue a bit more. So Toto Wolff, come on, get your dollars out, my friend. Get involved. That name sounds pretty decent. They could have a title sponsor. There could be like, I don't know, Nando's Williams. I don't know, off the top of my head. Weird.
Nando's. That needs to be McLaren's. If McLaren never had Nando's on board when they had Fernando Alonso, then they are done. But Lando Norris could be their saving grace. Like, we didn't have Nando's sponsoring Nando Alonso, but we have Nando's sponsoring Lando Norris.
That would have been a brilliant advert for Nando's to promote like their branch in Spain. Nando in Nando. Like, it just makes perfect sense. Come on, guys.
Lando Norris. Just like anything you need, just get Lando Norris on board. We all know how big he is on Twitter and stuff. We even made a video about him last week. Yeah. So Nando's, if you're watching this, get Lando on board. Lando in Nando's.
Get involved.
Are you kidding me? Race edition. Lando's at Nando's. Like, there we go.
We shouldn't be doing YouTube. We should be doing business things and just getting one company and an F1 team together. It just marketing makes sense.
We are wasted doing this,
right, guys, we are wasted. We're going to go into marketing, starting from next week. The F1 marketing debate show. You heard it here first. No.
But we just told everyone our idea of Lando's and Nando's. We just told everyone.
Delete it. It's gone.
Don't listen to what we just said.
Whatever you just said was a glitch. We're back. Oh, what happened there, guys? What happened there? We went off for a bit. Anyways, getting back on the topic. I think whoever decides to own the team, it's up to them what they call it. And if they do decide to get rid of the name, then so be it. As long as we've still got another team in Formula One and people are still employed, that is the most important thing. But with us F1 fans, we like the little things, the little things that mean mean a lot to us in Formula One. We don't like changing the sport, and we do want to keep the name Williams. So of course, guys, let us know what you think in the comment section below about it. Where are you with this? Do you think Wolff is it just buying a stake in the team just to help the team to stay afloat, or what? Or do you think there's more to it than meets the eye? Do you think he could, or he is looking at a potential building a consortium and buying or teaming up with Latifi and getting the team merged up with Mercedes? Or do you think, nothing more to it than that? He might go off to Aston Martin, like he is rumoured to. Latifi apparently is in the hot seat to buy the team, but let's see how it goes. And yeah, Latifi, is he a good option to go forward? And yeah, just pretty much expand on anything that we have said in today's episode. It's been a good one. I really have enjoyed this one. About a mixture of both kind of topics that's making the headlines this week. Toto Wolff and Williams racing. But guys, we're going to end the episode here. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then please like it and subscribe if you are new around here as well. And like I said earlier, comment below about anything that we have said in today's episode. This week we've got a pretty hectic weekend as normal. When it would be a race weekend, of course, this weekend would have been the Canadian Grand Prix. So yesterday we released Fry the Grid for Canada. Lyle, of course, he took the reins for this one. Let's see how he did. We are level on points at the moment, so can Lyle extend the gap, and if he can, by how much? And then tomorrow we've got another F1 online decoder for you. Fits in well with this one. We've got the Backmarkers F1 show, who are actually from Canada. So it fits in pretty well, doesn't it? We totally didn't plan that whatsoever. But no, go and check it out when that video goes live. And then next week we've got one of our favourite series, I think, that we are doing at the moment, Agree or Disagree. Any suggestions for Agree or Disagree? Any statements you want to say? Comment them in the comment section below and just label it Agree or Disagree, and we'll know what you mean by that. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Watch what you're doing. Take care as always, and until next time, we'll see you later.
See you later, guys.